All right, this morning, new data shows Americans are feeling more optimistic about the U.S. economy. After dropping for 5 straight months, the Consumer Confidence Index increased in May, boosted by some possible trade deals. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady is here to break it down for us. Kelly, good to see you.
Good to see you all.
So what'd you take away from this number that showed that consumer confidence is on the rise?
Look, I think the headline here is we have seen a rebound in consumer sentiment, and pretty quickly. Remember, the Consumer Confidence Index, it tracks how people feel about the job market, how they feel about their personal finances. And you can see on the graph, anytime that this number rises above 100, that means that people feel good about the economy. We plummeted to 86 last month, and that is the lowest number that we had seen since the beginning of the pandemic. We're back up at 98, so we're still in negative territory, but people are feeling more optimistic, and that surge happened really quickly.
Yeah, we haven't fully recovered the decline.
Right.
It seems like things popped up after the election, so we'll see what happens there. How do you think that will impact spending? Will confidence translate into this?
Well, that's why we track consumer confidence. We haven't seen that pullback in spending that you would have expected when we saw those low readings the past couple of months. But remember, I mean, people pulled a lot of those purchases ahead of the tariff deadline to get ahead of that extra impact. What I thought was really interesting about this report, though, is that people with that surge in optimism because of those potential trade deals said they're going to buy more cars, more homes, more appliances, go on vacation more. That is very different than what we're hearing from the retailers, though. Macy's actually reported earnings this morning, and they said they're seeing a pullback in some discretionary spending. So maybe what consumers feel doesn't always translate into how they actually spend.
What they think they're going to buy, they won't necessarily buy.
So what's interesting to me is as consumer confidence is on the uptick, it strikes me that a lot of the gyrations and a lot of the announcements from the Trump administration have not done anything other than bring people from the brink to a point where they feel confident again once he says these tariffs are not in place. So is everybody feeling this way? Are all consumers feeling this way?
We're seeing a bifurcation by income. So in this report, it said that people who make above $125,000, they are continuing to put aside money for future purchases. But people that make less than $125,000 said that they have struggled to make ends meet. They've had to move into their savings and that they've stopped making certain purchases that they had planned. So there really is this difference based on income in terms of the economic realities that people are dealing with.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much for that update.